So welcome to another RiderCamTV video, and today we're reviewing the V-Strom 650 from Suzuki. Now this bike comes in about 213 kilos, which is the curb weight. It's got roughly about 52 kilowatts of power and about 62 Newton meters of torque. And the first impressions of being on this bike, one is that the clutch is very bitey. As soon as you kind of even just release that clutch, even just a tiny bit, it's ready to propel you. Now this bike comes with some gadgets. It's the basic standard bike and comes in at around £7,500 in the UK at the moment, which, if you're looking for a bike that kind of does everything, what a good little price. I feel quite comfortable on it. The seat is holding me quite well. I do feel a tiny bit crunched up in comparison to some of the other bikes that I've ridden. And by that I mean I feel that my hips are bent a little bit more than they would be normally. I don't know whether the foot pegs are a little bit higher than most bikes. And this one's got a 6-speed, and there's no hunting with your feet looking for the brake pedal or the gear lever. They're just in the right place. I'm not sure what I think about the shape of the wing mirrors. Now don't get me wrong, the wing mirrors are providing me with an amazing view behind me and around me, but I'm just not sure that I like the shape. They're kind of, I don't know, a little bit old-fashioned, I guess, but they are functional, so I shouldn't really moan at them looking a bit old-fashioned. Functional is good. I like the instrument cluster. It's very easy to read. As you can see up ahead, I've got a massive rev counter, and then I've got the gear indicator display and the speed in a digital format, which is really great. Obviously know the temperature of the engine, the temperature of the air outside, how many miles the bike's got on it, and how much fuel and what time. So it's got all of the standard stuff ready for you exactly when you need it, just a quick glance of the eye. And with some bikes, I've noticed that you have to alter the view or alter the angle of your head to get a view of the instruments. Whereas on this one, they're just ready, they're just there ready for you without having to move your head at all. All you have to do is just move your eyes and flick them down, which is good, so you're not taking your eye off the road very much. Now, as I said earlier, this is the basic model, and you can get the V-Strom 650 XT, the Cross Tourer, and that comes with things like engine bars, the protection for underneath the engine, comes with spoked wheels, whereas this one comes with alloy wheels and no protection under the engine, although you can add all of those bits as extra. So I think the V-Strom 650 XT comes in at around £8,000 with those bits added, whereas this one comes in at around £7,500. So I guess if you were looking at a 650 V-Strom, have a look at your figures really. Is it worth spending £7,500 on the basic model and then kitting it out, and potentially spending a little bit more than you would if you bought the XT that has all those bits and bobs on it as standard? And of course this bike is as versatile as the XT and the other V-Stroms, where you can add all of the extra kit and extras that you want to, such as luggage and that sort of stuff. So that will all be available from your main dealer or from your dealers, so check it out. In terms of handling, this bike's really nice. It's certainly responsive. It does everything it says on the tin. And for a 650, it doesn't sound like a 650. Certainly when you start it up, it doesn't sound as though it's a 650 motorbike. It sounds as though it's a little bit bigger than that. The power, certainly got the power there. And although it comes in at around 62 newton meters of torque, that's enough torque for an everyday ride. It's enough torque for you to go touring, really. Now, I've ridden this bike for probably about 5-6 miles, and I can honestly say that the seat is really comfortable. It's holding me in the right place, and I don't get the impression that after a couple of 100 miles that I'm going to end up having to get off because my backside is sore from sitting on the saddle for so long. It certainly gives me the impression that it's going to be quite a comfortable ride for as long as you're sat in it. Now, this bike comes with a quick start. Now, down here you've got the normal electric start button, and you just need to just flick it and it starts. There's no holding it in, it's just a case you just need to flick it and the bike will start. It gets up to speed very quickly. It doesn't feel like it's slouching about. It doesn't feel wallowy. Going round bends, it's very responsive. Now, on this V-Strom, the screen up front isn't adjustable, and I can feel that I'm getting an awful lot of wind across my helmet. Now, today isn't probably the best day to talk about wind protection because it's one of the windiest days I've ridden in Cornwall in the last few weeks. But there's rather a large amount of wind coming at my face full on. So I guess that you would be able to buy a bigger screen, or even get something like a laminar lip or one of those little Gucci Wunderlich clip-ons that go on the top just to take that air off. But having said that, even though I'm getting wind into my face, I'm not getting buffeting. I don't feel that my head is being chucked about, and I certainly don't feel sick like I have done on some other bikes with a bit of buffeting. It's clean air, although it's a lot of it. Hope that makes sense. A lot of air coming over my helmet, but it's not horrible air. It's not making my head move about. I just know that that air is not going anywhere else other than at my helmet. It doesn't have heated grips on this one, which is a bit of a pain. It's a bit cold today, but no heated grips on this one. One thing I have noticed is whilst I've been going around these corners, it seems to be a higher geared bike. So where I would be on my BMW in perhaps third, second even, I look down and think, well, blimey, I'm in fourth or fifth gear, so I'm having to change down quite a few gears just to make sure that I've got that responsiveness around corners. And whilst it's not an issue, it's probably something to bear in mind if you're coming from either a more powerful bike or a lower geared bike, just to make sure that you're aware of what gear you're in. Very responsive on the corners. Where you point it is where you go. A good friend of mine calls it Willywig. Where you look is where you go. And I'm sure if he's watching, he'll be chuckling away. But it is so true. Where you look is where you go. And this bike is not disappointing around the corners. It's a fun bike to ride. A very, very easy bike. It's almost one of those bikes you could just pick up, get on, just ride, and not have to worry about all the intricacies of learning how the bike rides and what all the different bits and gadgets do. It's just there ready for you. And we've just been going around most of those corners at the speed limit, 60, 61, with no effort whatsoever. The suspension is just right. I don't feel that I'm being rocked about and it's so hard that it's uncomfortable, but equally I don't feel that it is really soft and wallowy, taking my concentration onto different things. So I can truly just pop it into the corner, power in and out of the corner really easily. I'm loving the pointed front. Although the lights are just normal bulbs, they're not LEDs, but I do like the styling. I like the silver coupled with the yellow. and the pointiness of it, although it's smooth points, and I hope you'll get what I mean, but it's very smooth, and I really do like the way that they've styled it. It looks very futuristic, very now, and very accomplished. And they have got a huge radiator in there, but what I do like about this bike is, as standard, they come with a really long fender extender, which means that nothing's going to flick up there. Although, because this is the standard version, you don't get the belly pan or the engine bars or the hand guards. And look at where they've put the oil filter, right there, really exposed. Now this bike's got a full one-piece seat, and what I have noticed about the seat is, riding it for a few miles, it's really soft, very pliable, and I get the feeling that I would be okay on there for a good couple of 100 miles if the tank range was enough, and without any discomfort really. Very comfortable seat, and I like the fact that they've come up the tank a little bit, so it's kind of protecting all your nether regions, but also protecting your tank from scratches from zips and things, which is always a good plus. Now, as with all the V-Stroms, this one comes with a proprietary rack that you can fit different top boxes and things. Also comes with the ability to fit side panniers, which are all available. On the back they have LED lights, although the indicators are the normal bulbs, but that's no great biggie. Then moving down, you've obviously got a chain, but what I have noticed is there is a big huge gap in here, and it would chuck some dirt around, but what I have noticed and like is that this plastic bit here almost doubles as an extra long fender extender or rear hugger to try and limit that amount of dirt that's going to come up. I do like the fact that these pegs are quite big, although the side stand, because there's no centre stand, the side stand, although beefy enough so it will hold your bike up in any event, I did find that when this was up, that kick plate was quite difficult to find, and when I'm flicking it back up, my leg is also flicking this and moving the peg up and out the way, which isn't an issue, but it's just kind of a little bit fiddly, I guess. What I do like is the controls on the bike. They're much the same as the Honda controls, actually. Quite well signed, so you know exactly what they are, but you get some good taptic feedback. You get some good feedback when you press them, and a good click, so you know that you've pressed the button. So on this bike we've got a quick start, and by that I mean the bike's on, it's in neutral, and you just literally have to just flick it and it does its own stuff. It starts on its own. Now the instrument cluster at the front, although it looks very basic, it's got everything you should need on there. It's got your rev counter, what gear you're in, what speed you're doing, your odometer, the heat of the engine, the time, air temperature, what mode you're in, and all of your fuel. And at the top, get some really good indications that you've pressed your indicators, which is good, because so many times we're riding along and think we've pressed it, but this gives you a good indication that you have put those indicators on, which is great. The view from the rider's position is really good visibility all around. Like I said earlier on, I'm not sure that I like the shape of the wing mirrors. Although they're very, very, very functional, I'm not sure that they fit with the kind of futuristic look of the bike. They could perhaps have been a little bit more tailored around, a little bit smoother of a shape, but as I say, they are functional. So I think this V-Strom 650 is a great priced all-rounder. Certainly if you're wanting to get into the adventure type market or the versatile bike market, it's certainly a good place to start looking. Very comfortable, got all the things you need, you can add loads of extras. Just a nice bike for a really good price. So I'd like to give a massive shout out to Damrels and Carl and his team for allowing us to take some of his bikes out to review for you guys. So if you've liked this video, give it a massive thumbs up. It really does help us a ton. And remember to hit that subscribe button down at the bottom so that you don't miss any of our videos that are coming.